to serve as the head of the Global Distributors Collective. So over the next few minutes, I'll set the scene for those of you who may be new to the GDC, who our members are, what we do, and the journey that has brought us to launching this new facility. After that, I'll hand over to Jan Kloin from the Energising Development Programme, and then my colleagues Frida and Amy, who will take you through the details of the facility itself, including a live demo of the application form. And then we'll have plenty of time towards the end for any questions and answers session. So just a few quick housekeeping points before we begin. Please do keep yourself muted during the presentation. We encourage you to drop your questions in the chat throughout the session, and we'll try and answer them as we go along, or we'll address them during the Q&A at the end. Okay, next slide, please. So before we begin, I'm just going to start with who we'll be hearing from today. So you're obviously myself, Amy Wafula, who's the GDC Investment Catalyst Facility Program Manager, Jan Kloin from the Energising Development Program, and Frida Peterson, who's GDC's Access to Finance lead. Just a few acknowledgements. So this unique facility has been made possible thanks to the support of our funders, Energising Development, financed by the governments of Germany, Switzerland, Norway and the Netherlands, and the Transforming Energy Access Programme, funded by FCDO. We're also very pleased to be partnering with 5 initial investment partners. You can see the logos on the screen. So we've got Bridgin, GGF, Charm Impact, Better Vest, and Superpower Africa. And finally, we're also really privileged to draw on the expertise of the Investment Catalyst Facility Advisory Council, which is made up of seasoned experts in financing last mile distribution companies. So they'll be helping us steer this program as we kind of move forward with it. So a little bit about the GDC. So for those of you joining us for the first time, the Global Distributors Collective is a collective of over 250 last mile distribution companies working in over 58 countries globally. We were established in 2018 with a mission to help last mile distributors make beneficial products such as solar home systems and clean cook stoves available and affordable for underserved communities. So we pursue this mission with 2 strategic goals. Firstly, we support last mile distributors improve their business performance. And secondly, we work with the wider ecosystem to create a more enabling environment for distributors. And I think this investment catalyst facility is a really powerful example of both of these strategic pillars in action. The GDC is hosted by Practical Action, and we run all our work in collaboration with our implementing and strategic partner, BOP Inc. So the Investment Catalyst facility is open exclusively to GDC members. Now I'm just going to put a quick poll to see who we've got in the room today. To see how many are already GDC members. So please do take a minute just to answer that. So to be a GDC member, you must, okay, so we've got actually a bit of a split. Half are currently members and half are not yet members and a few are not sure. So that's great. So just to reiterate, to become a member of the GDC, you've got to meet 3 criteria. So you have to be primarily focused on the sale and distribution of products. So that means we do have some companies who also manufacture products in our membership, but that's quite rare. And the reason that we took them on is because greater than 50% of the work that they do is actually on distribution. You have to be selling beneficial products. So you'll see on this slide the types of product categories our members sell. 75% are selling solar lights, 59 productive use appliances, and we've also got members selling agricultural inputs and wash products. And you have to be selling primarily to households, so not business to business. So if you are not yet a member but believe that you do meet these criteria, we do encourage you to apply using the link that my colleague's going to drop in the chat. Membership is completely free, but we do recommend that you fill in that link early so that we have time to process your application before the closeout window of the ICF application. So you can do both. You can complete the ICF application and the membership application at the same time, and we'll process them both. But we do need to onboard you before the close of the window. Yeah, so as mentioned, our current members sell a wide range of beneficial products, but mostly selling solar PV and productive use technologies. And notably, 88% of our members are locally owned companies, and the vast majority offer consumer credit and after-sales support. So as many of you will know, access to finance continues to be the #1 challenge facing our members. Our newly released last mile distribution state of the sector report shows just how stark the situation currently is for last mile distributors. We've seen grant transactions fall by 40%, debt by 54%, and equity by 75%. And this was comparing to the last time we did the report in a couple of years before. So another major finding is increasingly we see funding being concentrated. So while the overall number of transactions has fallen, the median debt transaction size has actually increased, which you can see on the next slide. So this means that when capital is flowing, it's going to a smaller group of companies, and the ticket sizes are actually larger. So among the roughly 50 companies that reported raising capital, only 8 secured more than $500,000, while 14 companies raised less than 100,000. And that's often a small grant. So finally, of the companies that did manage to raise capital, 2/3 of all the transactions were grants. So this is just underscores how limited debt and equity opportunities have become. So we're really excited to launch this facility, which is aiming to provide lower ticket debt transactions to last mile distributors. And it couldn't really be more timely given these data points. So that's it really from me. I'm going to hand over now to Jan, who'll say a few words.
Thank you very much, Jessica, and very much appreciated to introduce indeed the concept of the Catalyst facility. From the Energizing Development perspective, I would like to explain why we are so pleased with this collaboration. So NDEV in the past 20 years, because we exist 20 years, have been working on getting people with access to energy, and that has reached about 35 million people in that period in about 20 countries. The program is managed together between the German corporation GIZ and the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, RVO, and we work through creating viable markets by working on supply, demand, and also enabling environment. The actual access is often provided by local companies, which many of them are last mile distributors, and they perform a key role in delivering these products and services to the clients. We have several instruments in NDEV to assist these companies. First of all, there's trainings that are organized by our local teams in the countries. We have a global business development support services available called the Energy Enterprise Coach, and some of the members may have benefited from this already. We have also results-based finance to promote market expansion. We have supply side and demand side subsidies. We have facilitation of loans through the SME finance facilitator approach. But individually, these instruments are not achieving the impact that they could have. And that's really why we're so pleased with this collaboration as part of the Investment Catalyst Facility with GDC, because it sort of combines the networks of GDC and the NDEF program, as well as the Get Invest program and a number of financiers. And with this bespoke approach, we believe that the benchmarking, the professionalization, the streamlining of the profiles, the development of the proposition of a loan, engagement with a network of financiers, the support to financiers for the loan transaction, especially the small ones, as you mentioned, Jessica, and also the support to the SME to reduce the risks involved is key to getting more traction in the market. And so knowing this collaboration brings all these efforts together, we believe that we have something that's very additional, and that's also potentially a very scalable approach. We have a very high trust in the GDC team to make this activity a success. And you mentioned also our financiers. We are very pleased to bring together the funding of the donors of NDEF, as well as the UK FCDOT program together for this joint effort, together bringing the companies serving the last mile distributors distribution of these energy access products to the next level. So with that, back to you for the continuation of the presentation of the facility itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, for that brief. Thank you all also for taking the time to join the webinar. Good afternoon and good morning, depending on your location. My name is Amy Wafula, and I'm honored to serve as the Investment Catalyst Facility Program Manager. So I'll be taking you through a brief overview of the ICF, and I will do a live demo of the application process. I believe at the end of this, not only will it be clear what ICF aims to achieve, but also there will be a fire burning for last mile distributors, who I will refer to as LMDs, and also potential partners who will also express their interest in the program. So why ICF? I believe it's always important to understand the why, because every initiative or business ought to be solving a problem. So on one hand, we see that access to finance is a challenge for LMDs, as Jessica has mentioned, with many struggling to finding loans because of high or complex collateral requirements, or long and inefficient fundraising processes, or limited access, say, to small ticket size loans in comparison to what is available in the market. On the other hand, investors, they find the transaction costs are high when they're dealing with small ticket size in relation to now the size of the tickets, with borrowers, say, lacking documentation, such as audited financials, proper systems, or enough data for them to be able to assess these borrowers. Now, the ICF aims to address both the demand side and the supply side challenges through increasing access to debt. Yes. So the ICF seeks to accomplish this through 5 specific levels. To reduce transaction costs, reducing investment management costs, reducing the risk to both lenders and borrowers, and also improving internal company systems. Now I'll go into how exactly this, the approach of the program. So as you can see, the funnel is quite representative of exactly how we are going to move from selection all the way to the financing bit of it. because at the start, is going to start with selection. As you all know, the application window opened on 24th of November 2025 and will remain open until the 12th of January. So upon the close, 15 GDC members will be selected for the ICF. So to be considered, you have to submit your application through the ICF application form, which is available also on the GDC website. I'll kindly request my colleague to put the application link on the chat so that people can be able to access this directly. So please note, yes, even though there's quite a lot of time between now and January, we encourage you to apply early because the applications will be reviewed on a rolling basis so that we are able to see how many companies are also coming in. At this point of application, you can also collaborate with investors to enable you to identify gaps and the support that you need to qualify for this investment. So the next phase will be the benchmarking and the investor readiness support phase. Selected companies will be first onboarded, and the next thing that they'll go through is an assessment using the GDC benchmarking tool. So this tool mostly is just to assess the operational performance through 23 key performance indicators across value proposition, sales and marketing, backend infrastructure, and overhead. So coupled with the one-on-one support, gaps will be identified, pre-approved costs determined, key emphasis on pre-approved costs, so that now you can go proceed to procure the investor readiness support services that you require. I want you to think of this like what kind of financing, what kind of change will help you to get closer to getting investment from an investor. So this could be, say, acquiring software, doing audits, or training that is required to now operate the software that you've acquired. So each LMD will be receiving up to 10,000 euros, but an average of 7,000 across, and this will cover 50% of evidence costs. So this will be done on a reimbursement basis, supported by receipts. I'll provide an example later so that it's clear for everyone. The next phase is the financial screening and due diligence support, but only 12 companies will proceed to this phase. As you can see, the funnel is very symbolic because we are reducing the number from 15. Now we have gone to 12. So at this phase is where to do that some financial simulation to assess if you'll be proceeding to the due diligence. Only 8 companies will get to go through the due diligence. And at the due diligence phase, there will be like investor introduction and engagement to determine like suitability. So from the process of benchmarking all the way, the LMDs will get up to 10 hours of one-on-one support. In the event now you come to a close, financial close, which is backed by an investor agreement, up to 7 companies can receive 15,000 euros of catalytic financing, which is limited to 50% of the transaction. So please note that this will be based on the agreements between the investor and the investee. Investor partners can also apply for the de-risking subsidy of up to 10,000, which is also limited to 30% of the transaction. So what are the key requirements to qualify for the ICF program? You have to be an approved member at the time of contracting, not at the time of application. So non-GDC members are encouraged to apply for GDC membership first so that you're able to be evaluated for the ICF program as well. The second thing is operation in sub-Saharan Africa with priority given to NDF-focused countries. I think the list is provided on the webpage and on the application form. And another priority is locally led and women-led LMDs. Please note that a maximum of 75 of the companies that will be selected, yes, will come from NDF-focused countries, but we are ensuring that the remaining spots are also open to LMDs across the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. So the third requirement is that at least 75 of the annual turnover must come from the sale or distribution of clean energy or productive use technologies. So this will be solar home systems, solar irrigation pumps, or solar appliances, clean cook stoves, or many others. So the next thing is at least 12 months of operational history with annual revenue between 50,000 and 1 million euros, and actively seeking debts between 50,000 and 500,000. Please note that you're required to disclose any external financing or concurrent support programs, because honesty is the best policy. You don't ask to bump into information that you did not disclose. So the last thing is be legally registered, tax compliant, and in good standing with national laws. Now let's look at an example to create an understanding of how investor readiness support aspect will work. So this is just a case study, Renew Soul, which was founded in Kenya in 2022. It's a last-time distributor of vehicle lanterns, phone charging lights, solar home systems, standalone PV systems. They do 100% cash sales, but they want to transition to credit-based sales. They target people living in rural areas with a revenue ranging between $100,000 and $150,000. They have raised debt before and received results-based financing, but they now require debt for inventory and are actively fundraising. So they need the targeted support. They came to ICF, they applied, and they qualified. So at the point of gap analysis, we realize that the financial management is not fully optimized, like it's not yet aligned with industry best standards. So the pre-approved cost will be around ensuring that they can establish like a financial record keeping capacity and implement the necessary systems to meet the standards. So with support from ICF, Renewsol can purchase Zoho Books accounting software, complete an online training course, hire an accountant, and obtain audit. So this is coming to a total of around 7,900 euros. But the maximum reimbursable amount is only 3,950 euros because it covers up to 50% of the total cost. So this is the amount that will be included in the contract, and but the company must provide evidence for 100% of the cost. Okay, so I think it's time now to shift to the application process. So I will just share my screen. Can somebody confirm that they can see?
Yeah, we can see.
Thank you. So this is the ICF webpage. This one, you're able to access it through the GDC website. When you click apply here, it takes you to the form, the application form. So at this point is just the introduction, which I've basically done. It just talks about the program, but it's quite important that you read through by yourself so you're able to understand more about ICF. The first question is, are you a GDC member? As we said, if you're not a member, when you answer no, it will not allow you, sorry for that. It will not allow you to go next because there's an error on that page. So you have to go first and apply for membership. Then you'll come and answer yes and go to the next page. So the first section is just information about you and briefly about the company. So the name, the email address, and all that. The next section is about the product category. So which product does your company sell? So we've given a few options there. So you can select the one that you prefer. I've already pre-filled the form so that it's an efficient process. So kindly do not mind that. So if you're doing solar lights, if you're doing cook stoves, so you can also include that in. If it's other, the moment you select other, it provides an option for you to write, say for example, carbon uh, there's something else that you do like research. So you can include that there. And then the other thing is to indicate the percentage, because every product that you tick up there provide the percentage, and this should equate to 100%, so that we are not wondering where the 10% went. Okay, so the next session is about the financial overview. So this is about your revenue. How much revenue have you made? So I included 120,000. Do you have audited financials? Please note that audited financials are a priority. If you have them, kindly provide. But if you do not have this, please include the management accounts that you have and upload them. As you can see, I was able to upload more than one document. So the system allows for you to upload more than one document. So kindly ensure that you do that. The next section is about the financing needs. So how much do you need? Please take note of the currency as well, because you're asking in euros. So this is 50,000, for example, that's what I wrote, sorry. And then I went to describe what the use of the funds is. Please be specific as possible. Don't just say working capital, because when you say working capital, what exactly does that mean? So if you need inventory, please be specific and say purchase of inventory and indicate the amount. If it's receivable funds financing, indicates that amount. If it's the distribution, indicates the amount there. So it's very clear, and we're not having questions when we are reviewing the applications as they come in. So what areas of investor readiness support would be valuable to your business? So here is where you indicate you need financial management and accounting systems, business planning and strategy, investor outreach, operational efficiency, or governance and compliance support. As you can see, I am able to select more than one option, but be sure that when you select the options, you explain down below, because the next question is how it asks how you expect that support to help your company to secure financing. So because I had selected financial management, investor outreach, and governance, then I went ahead to explain. In terms of financial management, it's for purchasing, say, for example, an accounting software, doing an online training course, because you need to also understand how to use the software. Then an accountant, see, to help with the historical data cleanup and now transfer the data into the system. And probably if you need an audit, so you have to prepare for that and then obtain the audit itself. So about investor outreach and pitching, I indicated that developing like investor documentation, going through pitching practice, having a data room ready. So you see, I'm really going into details, because when somebody reads this, they don't need to come back to me to understand what I try to see. And then on governance and compliance, I just wrote that probably the company does not have like supplier contracts and they're trying to get those in. So the next thing is upload your business plan or your financial projection. As you can see, even this question allows you to upload more than one document. So I did like an example and I was able to upload two. So your business plan could be separate from a financial projection, so you can upload both of them. The next thing is the statement of your debt requirement and any investors or financial institutions you've approached. So you could have been already in engagement with investors. So you include there, say you've talked to, for example, Charm Impact, and there is already evidence around that. So maybe you can say you talked to Charm, you've talked to GGF, or any of the investors, even those that are not included within the investor partner. And at this point, you can use this space to now upload any supporting documents. If you're already at the point where you've already received like an agreement or a contract, you can include it there so that it's clear. On to the next page is about now the disclosure bit, which we mentioned even when it's as part of the requirements. whereby you're going to talk about any external financing that you've received in the past 2 to 3 years. So when the moment you say yes, it opens that, because the moment if anyone says no, you don't have to answer the subsequent question. But with a yes, then there's a follow-up question asking you the type of financing that you received. So if it was a grant, you indicate. If it was all this, even if it's other, it could just have been a program or something of the sort, then can include there. So you can use this space now to give now details of that. Say you said, yes, I received a grant. So who was the financier? Say I can use GDC. When did you receive this amount? 2024. Well, how much was that? 15,000. What is the purpose? Maybe to acquire CRM, to streamline payment processes and all that. And then indicate the status. Is it ongoing? Is it complete? So that we are sure what's ongoing on that end. So the other question is if you've received now specific question around funding from GDC. So whenever you answer no, you'll not have the follow-up question. But the moment you answer yes, then you have to give some details like the name of the program, the year, and the kind of support. Same applies to any other programs that you're participating in. It's the same thing. So as much detail as possible, so it's very clear and we're not asking ourselves questions on this end. And then the next section is about the legal, regulatory, and compliance requirements. So are you legally registered? So you answer yes or no. Then what is your company legal name, the registration number, the date of incorporation, and country of registration, sorry. So as you can see, I wrote practical action. I just came up with a random number, and then 1966 and United Kingdom. Please note you'll still upload this registration certificate. So the information that you indicate here, it's important that it matches the information that is in the certificate, so that there's consistency. And then tax identification number, you indicate it's there and provide the certificate. So it's you're giving us the number, you're giving us the document, so we can confirm that is accurate. So if you're registered and up to date, you confirm that. Do you have any form of, have you currently been undergone any form of bankruptcy, liquidation, or insolvency proceedings? You write there. Is your company directors been involved in fraud, corruption, or any other legal proceedings? You can write. The moment you write yes, you have to give details about the case and its current status. But when you write no, then that box is not available to you. So the next page is about the team. Please list all the key leaders and management team members, including the leadership and decision-making positions. So I wrote our names, as you can see there, and the position that they serve, the gender, the nationality, and the ownership. As you can see, it's not only owners that will be included. Sometimes a person can be in leadership and they are not the owner, but even the owner can also be in leadership. So please be careful to note all that information there. So do you consider your company to be locally led? So you can write the accurate response, please. Accurate responses, because honesty is the best policy. Yeah. So, and the next thing, women-led. Does your company have more than 50% of the senior leadership as women? So you can write yes or no. There's no follow-up question on that. And then this is just willingness to participate. Are you willing to participate in the program? So here you indicate your preference. But I'm hoping that it's going to be a yes for all of you who are actually applying for the program. And then at this point, you indicate who is the team member that is going to be leading the activity with the GDC. So the name, their role, and the hours per month. Because I think I indicated here 20 hours per month is like roughly 5 hours per week. And lastly is the declaration. So you need to confirm that all the information that you provided is accurate and complete. And also just commitment again. And then lastly, if you're willing to have your information used for the upcoming work, it's up to, this one is up to you to consent either yes or to just say no, and then just submit the application form. I hope that is quite clear. So we'll move on to the Q&A session, and I will invite my colleague Frida to manage this process. Over to you, Frida.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy, for giving such a thorough overview of the Investment Catalyst facility and also the demonstration on how to apply. So just a short introduction. I'm Frida Pettersson, and I work as an Access to Finance consultant with the GDC and Practical Action. So we now wanted to open the floor to the audience for questions. So how this will work, you can raise your hand and you can also unmute yourself. But you can also continue to post questions in the chat. We have already received quite a few questions also prior to the webinar. So we will try to start to answer them first. They're quite similarly themed. So yeah, we try to answer them in one go. I think also as a note, we may not have time to answer all of your questions. So we will try to compile them and answer them and then also share them after this webinar. Or you might come to think about something once we have closed up here or while you're doing your application. So please feel free to reach out to any of the GDC members. I think we had quite a number of questions around eligibility criteria and how the selection of the 15 companies to join the facility will look like. I mean, I believe Amy has answered quite rigorously around the eligibility criteria. So yeah, how will we select the 15 companies to join the facility? We will do it on a rolling basis, first of all, and we will look at you have fulfilled the eligibility criteria as set out in the application and also in this webinar. But then we will look at the long list where we rate the quality of your application and also the documents submitted. So yeah, there's a few areas or evaluation areas that we will be looking at. And they're all very geared to make sure that the companies that we select has a fair chance to come to transaction maturity at the end of the program. So the first one we're looking at is, does the application form show relevance and market fit? Does your business model align with ICF's goal to unlock smaller ticket size finance? In your application, can you demonstrate a clear use of the funds and, you have an understanding of the market opportunity of your company? And also the ask is quite specific, both when it comes to the financing, but also the support you are looking at. I think here, we also want to see if you basically, I think what we want to see is to see companies that are actively fundraising. So if you have already started to talk to investors, you can also mention them, and you might even have feedback on what you have to do to qualify for their funding. So you can mention that as the investment readiness support you're seeking. Financial readiness and feasibility is something that we're looking at, partly what I mentioned. So the proposed financing structure, basically the loan size, purpose, use of funds, it's realistic. And it's also supported by evidence. So yeah, we've asked about a business plan or projections. And again, we want to kind of see a little bit the readiness to engage with investors. So if you have specific feedbacks from investors, you can put that also in the application. We will also evaluate additionality. We do want the support to be catalytic. So yeah, if you're already in other programs, we want you to disclose that so that yeah, we can provide additionality, and we can also coordinate with potential other TA providers. But yeah, we will also look at scalability of your business, and also a bit on the operational strength. Again, as Amy mentioned, we really encourage female-owned and led and locally owned led companies to apply. That was one of the categories of questions. I wonder now if we could actually allow for someone, maybe someone has a follow-up question on that. Or yes, I can also continue with a few other questions.
Rita, we've had a couple come through in the chat. So there was one from Cire. They were asking, for companies operating in a challenging economic context like Senegal, what factors make an application stand out the most? I think you've probably covered most of those in the answer that you've just given, but is there anything else that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, perhaps mentioning the challenging environment and how you're dealing with that, or what support you would need to be more resilient in that environment. I think that would be really helpful for the evaluators to understand.
There's another question here we've had from Newton. So what if a company has less than 75% in renewable energy sales, but meets the revenue requirement of the $50,000?
Yeah, I will hand that over to Amy to confirm, but we do have a requirement for this pilot to be 75% from renewable energy products or services.
Yes, I agree with Frida. It's not either or for that, because it's also a requirement on its own. So you will not qualify because you have less than 75% in renewable energy. I think he further asked how involving the program requirement is, I think, for investor readiness. Do we have a scheduled time for the same, so that we know the correct resource to assign to the program, and how long is the same training? So for the investor readiness support bit, it is going to start with the benchmarking aspect of it. So in terms of trying to understand what are the gaps that are in the business, then go on to now the implementation of trying to address those gaps. So this will take place around February, and depending on the company and the gaps that you have, this process is likely to go up to 3 months. But if possible, if it could end early, it's better, so that you can expedite the following processes. I hope that answers your question. And about that, it's more of a one-on-one and also group sessions. So there will be one group session to introduce that phase, and then one-on-one, like up to 2, if I'm not wrong, at that particular point, so that we're able to understand like the gaps, and also to agree on the costs that are going to be covered in that phase. I hope that answers your question, Newton.
Great, thanks. And I see Edwin Myro also has his hand up, so please feel free to ask your questions.
Okay, I'm representing Gemini Flagship. This is a company that does value addition for agriculture produce. So we are doing flour, we are doing porridge flour and other flours. So I don't know if this program fits us because I can see it is all about clean energy.
Yes, Edwin, maybe you can make us understand, is that the only revenue line that Gemini has, or do you have other revenue lines around clean energy?
Okay. We are just doing mailing. Then that is our main revenue line, whereby we sell the end product, which are in 3 brands of flowers, I mean.
Okay. I think for this pilot program, you will not be able to qualify, but hopefully when we get other funding, continuous funding beyond the pilot program, we are able to include even other sectors. So thank you, Eden, for that question. Over to you, Frida.
Yeah, I see we have another hand up. Sadudi Major.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Sanudi Major from Malawi, Managing Director, Green Energy Solution. We are actually customized distributors of solar home systems as well as green cooking technologies. Now, my question is it possible that if we are trying to have a project that has to do with a carbon revenue to increase our source of revenues, we have to incorporate carbon revenue. Is it possible that we can also apply under a project that has to do with the carbon revenue, carbon market, that is? That's my question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I mean, the support would go to the business overall, as I would see it. It's not your only revenue stream, right? It would be part of your revenue stream. Is that correct?
Yes. Just part of revenue stream, but we will be selling the product, but we also have another source of revenue, that's carbon revenue.
Okay, yeah, that should qualify. We will look at the minimum revenue and what type of financing you are looking for.
Okay, great.
We also have, I hope that answered your question. We also have Ayola.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
You might need to just
Yeah.
speak up a little.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Bolaji Ayola from Nigeria. I am the CEO of Sonetric. We are a solar home system distribution company here in Nigeria. My question is that that $50,000, is that the minimum a company can, the minimum turnover a company can have? Because we do not have that turnover for now. Then I also want to ask if all the companies that are applying will benefit from the technical assistance. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, that is also a good question. Yes, 50,000 is the minimum that we have set. So you wouldn't be eligible for this facility, but GDC has other programs that might fit your company. So there's Access to Finance Accelerator, which is done in partnership with Get Invest. Jessica, I don't know if you want to elaborate, or Cynthia, more on that, but that could be something. It's more focused on, it's also investment readiness support, but it's more focused on training, so more pre-transaction stage support. But yeah, we would have to confirm the date of the next cohort, which will be in 2026 at some point.
Yeah, so that's a 2-month training program that's delivered online. There's currently 6 training modules that you're taken through with an instructor, and there is some one-on-one support that you receive from the trainer as well during that program. So that's a good source of training if you're not quite ready for this program or to receive financing yet. But it will give you the skills and the knowledge to know what you need to put into place. And that will be coming in probably open for applications in April 2026.
Great, thanks. And we have a couple of hands up. So I'll start from the top. Gift Mwase.
Thank you, Frida. I'm Gift Mwase from Malawi. I work with Norway and Energy. We are a solar home systems distribution company and clean cooking technology company, especially higher tire clean cooking. So I have a question around what is eligible. I know there's renewables, but I also wanted to see does the program look at how does the program look at LPG in terms of clean cooking? But also I wanted to hear more, maybe from this conversation, or maybe somebody can follow up with an email on the process for membership and the costs associated, because as the precondition, it's also important for us. We are not yet a member, so we want to know what is required, but also what's the cost like, so that we are able to apply for membership as well. Thank you.
Perhaps I can take that one. So membership is currently free, but you do have to meet 3 criteria. So you have to be primarily focused on distribution. You have to be selling beneficial products to underserved households. So there's a link that will drop in the chat again that you just fill out a short online form, after which we'll get in touch with you to set up a 30-minute call so we can understand your business in a bit more detail and assess whether you're suitable for membership. So it's quite a straightforward process and there are no costs involved in becoming a member.
Great, Ovoke, you've had your hand up for a while, so I'll also hand it over to you. Or you took it down. Newton, Mugaka.
Hi everyone. My name is Newton Mogaka from Megawatt. I major in SHS. I'm still reiterating on the position for the 75% revenue renewable energy. I just wanted to maybe understand the semantics to it. I know you've said it's a requirement. I just wanted to understand the art behind it, because as well, I think portfolio additions and rather diversification is part of a revenue stream that will be interesting to understand, and also build on that kind of aspect. Maybe what is just the criteria behind having it strictly at 75% as a precondition.
Yes, thanks, Newton. It's related to the funding for the NDEV program. So for this pilot, it is renewable energy focus. So that's one of the restrictions of the funding. That's the logic behind it. But yeah, it may look different in a scale up after this program. Jess, I don't know if you want to add something to that as well.
I think you've covered it. So this is a pilot phase, which is delivered by Energizing Development and FCDO, which both funders focus on energy products and access. So as we look to scale up, we'll be trying to encourage other donors to provide support to companies selling products outside of that. But currently, the requirement is 75% of revenues from the sale of energy products.
Thanks. I think we have probably time for 1-2 more questions. So to Kia, if you want to introduce yourself and ask your questions.
Hi there, my name is Takia. I'm the General Manager for Kazan Solar Limited in Lusaka. I think my question has already been answered. It was just in relation to eligibility, but it's already been answered.
Great. Daniel Misengo.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm Daniel from Innovtech Solar. We are based in DRC. I would like to know about, I have a question about submitting our application. Most of our documents, all of them, in fact, are in French. Documents like company registration, financial statement. So do we have to translate these documents in English, or we can just submit them in the way they are?
Yes, I think this was answered in the chat. And yeah, Jessica, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we're happy to accept your registration documents and accounts in French. However, the program will be delivered in English. So the one-to-one support will be in English, as well as the review of the benchmarking and all the follow-on conversations. So we do need you or someone in the team to have that level of English that they'll be able to follow the support and the program. But in terms of registration documents, in French, the team can review them. If there are any other, I would encourage you to submit them in the local language that you've got. So if it's French, that's fine. And then we'll reach out if we need any additional support. So if we're struggling to understand them, we'll reach out separately, I think, to save translating everything to English for now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Jess, we've only got a couple of minutes left. I was just going to say, yeah, and then we can launch the final polls.
Okay, great. So perhaps we'll go ahead with the first poll, which is just really understanding the people on the call if they're interested in applying. As we've mentioned a few times, applications will close on the 12th of January. We are encouraging you to submit your application when you're ready. That just helps our small team in the background be able to process the applications as we go along, which will mean that we'll be able to provide like the outcome sooner for you guys. If you're not yet a GDC member, do please apply for membership. And if you've got any further questions, please email us at our gdc@practicalaction.org.uk, and we'll get back to you. We will be sharing the recording and slides to this session, as well as the frequently asked questions list so that you can refer back to them. You should now have a second poll on your screen. We'd really love to know how useful you found this session. And if you've got a question that you've just thought of or you didn't have time to ask during this session, please pop it in the poll now. And again, we'll include that in the frequently asked questions that we send around after this. So thank you all for your time, and we wish you all the best in applying for this new facility.
Thanks, everyone. We'll leave the polls open, so continue to share your feedback. And if you want to submit any final questions, feel free. We won't close the session just yet. But if you're finished and you need to pop off to another meeting, then feel free to leave. Thanks again.
Thank you.